Marshmallow Fanboy back with another review. This time I'm going to do the entire wave of the Endless Winter figures by McFarlane Toys. I already did the Aquaman one, but I'm going to concentrate on the ones with the Build-A-Figure parts, or as they're called, the collect-to-build parts for McFarlane Toys. That's going to include Black Adam and Green Lantern John Stewart, as well as the redesigned Wonder Woman and Batman. But first, we're going to go over the source material. The Justice League Endless Winter hardcover. So let's get into it. Okay, first let's take a look at the cover. It's a really nice cover. I'm not sure who does the artwork for this, but it is really nice. The back of it, of course, has a little bit about the story, and it tells you that it collects Justice League Endless Winter 1 and 2, Flash 767, Superman Endless Winter #1, Aquaman #66, Justice League 58, Teen Titans Endless Winter Special #1, Justice League Dark #29, and Black Adam Endless Winter Special #1. Let me show you what it looks like. If you take off the dust jacket, of course there's a lot of nice kind of snowflakes. It kind of looks Christmassy, which at first you're not really sure when the story takes place, but as it progresses they mention that the holidays are approaching, and then there's a Christmas tree at some point toward the back. So really nice picture of them attacking the Frost King's minions, the people that he sort of sends against them. It's really nice. It begins with the Justice League taking down some B-list criminals, which includes Catman, which I thought Catman was sort of a big deal because he was with Suicide Squad for a while, but he's taken out pretty easily. There's a through line in the book where Flash starts asking each member of the League how they balance being a hero with their personal life. It's a question that doesn't get a resolution by the end of the story. It's also a question that isn't repeated in the Flash's own title. When he sees Iris, she never makes mention of that balance. He never makes mention of that balance, and he never thinks about that balance, which is just way weird. So after they do all this, of course, you know, the bad guys, I want to call them Roxxon, but they're not Roxxon. But the bad guys in this case are mining where the Fortress of Solitude was. And they come across a lot of Kryptonian crystals, but one of the things they accidentally unleash is this really ancient monster that Hippolyta and the Viking Prince, Swamp Thing, and Black Adam helped to take down about 1,000 years before. And this thing is sort of resurrected because he is looking for his family, which is sort of the same thing he was sort of doing when he was taken out 1,000 years ago, trying to protect his family. So it features mostly the Justice League sort of encountering him and them losing track of him as he sort of disappears into the storm, and he's sending out these sort of icy minions everywhere in the world. And meanwhile, they tell the backstory, which features the Viking Prince and Hippolyta and Swamp Thing. And I don't think they brought Black Adam in yet, but this one, of course, is the Flash's title. He's still doing some stuff, and he has a nice exchange with Black Adam. I think Black Adam is harsh when he is speaking about the US superheroes. He's harsh when he's talking to most of the Justice League, and he just seems to get along with Flash, or at least sort of tolerate him. It seems like if Flash shows up on his doorstep, he's not against it. Because you see he passes out here, but he wakes up in a bed and he's safe. And, you know, even when he mentions that he needs a little lightning to recharge, Black Adam recharges him. And that is great. So, really brief interaction with Iris before he rushes off. And then there's some stuff with Superman, and he's running around. Some stuff with Lois. Mostly how the secondary characters, the supporting cast, is managing to not just take care of themselves, but give the heroes a little bit of perspective. And that is nice too. So as we go, Aquaman kind of disappears because he's got a lot of problems under the waves, but he makes he goes down to get the fire trolls and sort of make an alliance. Luckily, Mira is there. Mira would have been a really cool figure. The Black Adam, the Teth Adam version, the 1,000-year-old version, with the I don't know what you call that, the headdress. That's nice. Stuff with Green Lantern, stuff with Batman. The design on Batman's suit and the design on Wonder Woman, they're very cool. I like those very much. There's some nice stuff with the Titans, even though they don't really factor into the Justice League at all. It is nice to see them. It's a fun break in the story, as is sort of the Justice League Dark, which does fit in better with you know, Swamp Thing. But there's the first way they defeat the Frost King is that the Viking Prince is stabbed, and his prophecy is that he'll only die. He's immortal, but he'll only die if it's a heroic death. And he figures taking the bad guy with him is a heroic death. And he takes him. And then, of course, the guy starts sort of disintegrating and becoming himself again, which is weird because, you know, he's super powerful and probably could have stopped his fall or done something else. But he did that. So the whole sort of backstory is Black Adam puts his family in his path, hoping they'll reach him. But when Hippolyta gets mad and says, "You're endangering the family," they go, and Black Adam picks a fight with him, and he loses control and pretty much freezes them in ice. And the people who are plundering where the Fortress of Solitude was also sort of gets a hold of the family. So the Frost King is looking for the family. And when he finds them, he predictably goes after his family. And in a weird twist, the Justice League find him sort of in a kind of a protective bubble. This is a very cool image of all the heroes assembled. You got to have one of those in a big crossover. But they sort of find him surrounded in a field with Kryptonian crystals and things. And despite the fact that his family couldn't get through to him, despite the fact that he was so angry about everything, he takes Hippolyta's hand, and that ends things. And then when it turns out they can't free his family yet without hurting them, he agrees to be cryogenically frozen again so that he can someday join his family. It's sort of an odd ending that says, like, oh, he hated everybody and he didn't trust anybody, but holding his hand sure is his kryptonite, I guess. We have to remember that the next time I get pulled over, just to hold the officer's hand gently. He'll say, "You don't have to sign this, and but this is a summons." I'll be like, "I understand. Shh, Mr. Officer." See how that goes. I think that'll end with me in prison, but. You know, there's a new kind of Swamp Thing. It's the spirit of the Viking Prince. And that's kind of cool. I don't know a whole lot about the Viking Prince. But yeah, so then it just kind of ends, and it sort of ends on a note where it's like, well, we defeated him by reasoning with him, and now he's frozen again, which, you know, if he ever thaws out, that'll be a bad thing. So lots of nice designs. It's a cool Swamp Thing design of him as the Viking Prince. That's really nice. And there is Frost King, which there's a Build-A-Figure. These are two really nice designs. Michael Janin, the Batman and Wonder Woman. Probably the designs that the McFarlane figures were based on. So I like that McFarlane is giving us figures from titles that have costume changes and that they are based on actual things that they've worn in the DC universe. The source material, I like reading it. I like being familiar with it. I like it when I'm collecting the figures to kind of know where they came from. But I'm going to say I didn't really need to get this. It didn't sort of add anything. Batman sort of didn't do much, and a lot of the other characters were just sort of running around smashing ice things until they held hands with the bad guy. And then it ended. So why don't we dig into the figures and see what we think of those? Okay, now that we've got them out of the package, let's take a closer look at all of them. I'm going to start with Black Adam. Black Adam, of course, comes with the stand that he always comes with. He comes with these power effects. The power effects sort of unfurl this way, and you sort of have to screw them in like kind of like a screw, and just have to find the sort of the path of least resistance to push that on as far as you can. And same with this side. Power effects I'm digging. Those are very cool, and the color is complementary to the sort of the bottom of the lightning bolt. So the texture, of course, is nice. This part that hangs over is really nice because when you twist and things, it doesn't break. It doesn't break that at all. The head is because of whatever this is that the lightning bolt hangs on. The head doesn't go back at all. I don't know if you can see that, but there's some really nice blue in his hair. There's blue and black. It's a nice contrast. It's kind of like they do in comic books where sort of the shine of the hair is a little bit blue. I dig it, the dark eyes to make him look a little more sinister. It's very cool. Normal texture. The bracelets are very cool. Have a lot of texture to them. Been nice to have a little bit of wash, but I'm not complaining. The belt is really nice. The belt doesn't need a wash. The belt is always kind of shiny and uniform. Should be sort of unbroken by anything that looks like dirt or anything. I guess that goes for the bracelets too. Yeah, I guess I'll extend that to the bracelets. Forget what I said. So the boots are really cool. I don't often see a lot of, sort of this, where you got gold and you got black all the way through the boots, black highlights everywhere. That's very cool because when you pose it and you sort of break the line a little bit, you can't tell if you're breaking the line because things are black where they're supposed to be black. So let me get a little bit of, I suppose this is close enough. I like that. Okay. So the head goes all the way. Well, I guess it doesn't go all the way. Yeah, it goes all the way around. Goes all the way around. No up. He's got a little bit of, well, that's a pretty good degree of down. Yeah, for the little that his head moves, he can look down really well. Arms go all the way. He's got butterfly joints. He's got, let's see, is there a bicep swivel there? Yeah, there's a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. So that is nice. It's a hinge in the wrist. And, of course, his hands go all the way around. That is for both sides. Of course, whatever this is, under the ribs, little twist there. And the waist does move because I can see it move when I torque it too much. So there's a ab, maybe not an ab crunch. It moves a little bit, but I'm not sure if it moves much more than just a little bit. Nope, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, the waist twist unlocked. Now let's see if I can get it back to back to the middle. Come on, Black Adam, work with me. There we go. Okay. Normal setup for the legs. The hinge and swivel. Oh, he can do the splits. That's very out of character. Okay. So he has thigh swivels, a little bit of thigh swivel. It's not much. Kind of runs into the butt, which I'm learning a lot about the butt because Frost King was a pain in the butt to put together at the legs because a little bit of the butt was bled over and I had to get the leg is how the hip is, where everything is kind of over the leg. You have to kind of get the leg perfectly in. See, double oh, he can kick his own butt. See, the boots, I was expecting a turn at the very top of the boots, but nothing. Of course, the toe hinge, and there's a hinge there, and of course he can pin like that. Let's see if there's a there is a rocker right there. Okay, that is Black Adam. He came with the power effects. I like the power effects. They're a little bit of a pain to put on, but if they had been easy to put on or uniform, they probably would have looked like a gun or something. It's probably better they're crazy and wild like this. Marvel does the same thing, so I'm not really comparing the two. I like it just fine. That sounded very bad. I like it just fine. It's okay, okay? No, I like it just fine. John Stewart, the definitive Green Lantern for a generation. He is a very important Green Lantern. And now we have, I think, the three biggest Green Lanterns, which was Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, and John Stewart. John Stewart was mostly the Green Lantern when I was a kid, but I really got into Green Lantern when Kyle Rayner came up, because then it was, you know, John was Green Lantern, and then Hal turned out to be Parallax, and then in the ensuing, you know, stuff, then Kyle got introduced. So that was sort of, Kyle was my ground level introduction to a Green Lantern, whereas Hal and John already existed. So let's do this. Who's the hands on the McFarlane toys are kind of a pain, man. It was tough to get the swords into the hands because it's hard to get it's hard to get them out too. It's hard to get the fingers moved, and I had to sort of manipulate the thumb a little bit to get those in. There you go. See, come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. John Stewart. Good likeness. Looks like he's in the cartoon. He's got the high top fade. I think that's a high top fade. Kid and Play had a high top fade, but that's a fade that goes up to his hairline. Because I have 1, 2. So, see, I made him do the splits on accident. So, let's see. He can look almost completely down. And he can look really far up. That is really nice range of motion for the head. I like that a lot. So the head goes all the way around. I won't do it because he's not the Exorcist. Arms all the way around, butterfly joints. So he gets to there. I didn't do that with Black Adam. I didn't spread his wingspan out. But I'm guessing it's about the same. They're basically, they're not the same body. There's different textures to both of those. But I'm guessing the range of motion is the same because they have nothing sort of impeding the... I guess I could just I'm trying to avoid doing it, but I'm going to do it. There we go. The wingspan is like that. That's very cool. Of course, he can't look up, so if you have him in a flying pose, he's sort of going to just keep resolutely staring at the ground. Okay, so let's see. That's that. And let's see, there's a bicep swivel. That's nice. Double jointed elbows. See, it is double jointed. Let me see if I can work the... And I can. And yes, there we go. It's uncomfortable to that degree. without a sort of a pose in mind, but there you go. And see, no twist above the glove. There is a hinge. I can see it right there. There's a hinge in the wrist. The hand goes all the way around. That's on both sides. He has the under the rib crunch where you can twist him at that. The logo is above the crunch, so you don't get any breaking. There's this part of the uniform that sticks out and overlaps, so you can't see the waist twist. And there's definitely a waist twist because I hold that part immobile and just use the legs and he twists. And then I can twist this back. You can see how sort of messed up that looks. Super messed up. Ooh, that made me uncomfortable. I needed to restore that immediately. So the legs have the same hinge and swivel. He doesn't do the splits like Black Adam does. No. Okay. He has thigh swivels a little bit. It's nice. Double knees. I can see them. They are not pinless. So, yeah, double knees. And he can almost kick his own butt. We forgive him, though. Okay. So let's see. Hinge and a toe hinge. Yes. He can do that. And he has a swivel. If you turn the ball joint the right way, then he can have the hinge swivel. Sorry, I didn't do that on camera, but there we go. And that is Green Lantern, John Stewart. He is going to look excellent on a shelf. And if you have a 3D printer that does translucent green, oh my God, you're going to make so much cool stuff with it. Just so much cool stuff. So Wonder Woman, cool, has a sheath for the sword. You can see the sword goes all the way behind her, so there's a little pop of color, which is, I prefer that the sword went in and you couldn't see the sword, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's not a deal breaker. It's not something that sort of will actively bother me. The sword itself has this cool point at the tip. Just kind of a little bit of extra, if you're going to stab someone, you might as well, barb them and then you can drag them. Really nice ornate hilt. That is very cool. All that screams Wonder Woman, including the little lasso, little rope around the hilt. That's a really nice touch. Of course, I do wish that maybe she'd come with some kind of lasso or something, but I don't recall her using the lasso that much in the series. So maybe I am probably wrong. So the cape probably comes off. I don't see a way for it to come off. I'm sure it does. Somewhere. It could be glued on because there's a single point over there. She has butterfly joints, but it seems like the butterfly joint kind of separates from the rest of the... See there how it kind of separates from everything? The butterfly joint I don't think is completely in. Let's see, her wingspan, because of the coat, I mean, she can only do about that because her arm is blocked by the coat. Her head, not all the way around, but pretty good range of motion from side to side. You can definitely look around. Up is a problem because it runs into the coat. Down, not so much, not so bad. She can look down really well. She's got a little bit of deco with the clasp that holds on the fur jacket, and of course the suit of, I'm going to say, armor that has the familiar trappings of her usual uniform, while being a great place to hang the rope and being a great way to keep all of her skin protected while things are hacking and slashing at her. Let's see. Besides the coat, she has this sort of dress here that kind of comes down. I don't know if you can see that very well. The dress kind of comes down for further protection. Protects the haunches. Adds a little more heat. I'm imagining that's kind of a belt that comes down. And that's very cool too. So let's see the range of motion besides the head. Arm here goes all the way around. The arm on this side is not going to go all the way around unless you take off the coat. She's got double elbows, which is very cool because she can reach back and she can grab the sword out of the. Let's see if I can put that back. And then, yeah, you could probably make it so that she reaches back for that sword and you can pose her on your shelf like that. I'm just going to cheat and do that. It's not really grabbing the sword, but it looks very convincing. And the ponytail being able to kind of move off to the side sort of adds a little bit of motion. I don't think it's on like a ball joint or anything. It's just hanging. But it is movable and is hanging off. So depending on your pose, you want to keep that in mind. It might be easy or hard to work with. I'm not sure. Might just have to warm it up with some warm water, put it in a pose you like, and then, you know, throw some cold water on there. So let's see. Is it bicep swivel? Yes. She has a bicep swivel. Fantastic. A hinge for her hand. She could do that. And her hand goes all the way around, which you can't see because my hand is in the way. The legs have the same standard setup, the hinge and swivel, but because of all the stuff down here, you sort of don't get a good range of motion with the upper legs. Though we do have a little bit of a thigh swivel, just a little bit. It's not a lot. Oh, that one's frozen. I'm gonna have to heat that one up. Double knees, so you know she could get into great poses maybe, but there's a lot of stuff in the way of her legs. But I do like the way the paint is just solidly yellow throughout, so it doesn't break it no matter what you do with it. There's a little bit of a knee pad here, so it blocks the joint from looking, and it keeps the armor look. If it had broken there, it would have looked like just sort of a pair of pants. And let's see, no movement at the top of her boot, but her foot does move on a hinge and swivel. I can get it to point down, pointing up. She has a shin guard here. This is a shin guard, and the boot won't raise up. She does have a toe joint, and that is nice. She has a, let's see, swivel from side to side, and of course, yes, there's a swivel there, and that is Wonder Woman. That is very cool. I kind of like the muted blue and yellow colors. They're kind of drab, but it's kind of a gray winter day. It's a nice offset from that. I'm going to put her over here. Okay. Batman. The Batarang, the heat Batarang was a pain to get into his hand. Just a pain. Mostly because the Batarang is sharp, and when you're trying to wedge it into his hand, it sort of bites back. So I'm going to take it out of his hand to do the rest of this. Boom, comes out real easy. But that is very cool. I haven't seen an accessory like that on Batman before, but it is very cool. And of course, you could tell what way is right side up because it has the ears. Very cool. I just love that hit of the red paint. It just sets it off really nice, but it also sort of speaks to the function because you would associate red with heat. And it complements the goggles. The goggles are cool. The strap on the goggles is this brown that matches the utility belt. And the utility belt, of course, keeps the jacket on. I don't think that you could take the jacket off of this figure. You know what? I'm going to change that answer, and I'm going to say you probably could take the arms off, and you could take the jacket off. And the arms would look a little bit odd, or maybe they would oddly fit in. I'm not sure. I'm not going to do it. I don't see a way to disconnect the belt. That is obvious. I don't see a way to... It looks like it's just glued in the back. There's a split back here, but it just looks like there's no way to get that apart. Rotate around. I love the bat symbol. I love that this thing is painted underneath the coat. That no matter where you kind of look at it, they've hit it with the paint. Like maybe we'll release it with a jacket, maybe we won't, but we're going to paint the whole thing. And that's nice. So the head gives you a little bit, I don't think that's up at all. I think that's just, he's straight ahead vision. And then he can look down really well, but he's not going to look up in the sky and see if Superman's up there. So head goes all the way around despite the jacket. Yes. The arms go all the way around somewhat. No, not somewhat. The shoulder armor moves out of the way. You can kind of see the different color armor underneath the... No, you can't. I can't get a clear shot. Okay. Trust me, it's there. So let's see. There is a bicep swivel. And, of course, he's got double elbows, which is really nice. He's got the bat gauntlets. Bat gauntlets are always awesome. For ice, he can dig them in and climb ice. Very cool. He's got a hinge in the hand, and the hand rotates as well. And let's see if this in the front is one continuous piece. So I don't know if he bends. Looks like he does right under the rib cage. See if I can see if that's something I can manipulate. I think it does. It twists, so I can get some motion out of that. But I'm not sure if I'm twisting at the waist or at the midsection. At the it looks like it's bending right under the rib cage, or rotating right under the rib cage. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not sure where it is, but there is an overlay that blocks the joint, so I can't see if it's jointed or not. And same hinge and swivel setup for the legs. See if I can get some rotation. See if I can get some thigh swivel out of it. And oh no, I took his leg off. Boo me. I suck. I'll be right back while I fix that. Okay, I got the leg back on. Had to change the light a little bit so I could get some light directly on the leg so I could see. I could line up the holes. So no thigh swivel that I could see. See, double jointed knees. So they come in at, see, okay, I can see the double joint. I think it's just running into the thickness of his muscle. Of course, there's a little bit of plate right over the knee that moves out of the way, so you can't see the separation. But it's a really nice touch. These are, oh, I pinched myself. That's probably armored Batman legs, maybe. From Dark Knight Returns, maybe? Nah, I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. So, let's see. This is a swivel and points the toe. But if you swivel the other way, you're running into the shin guard. Batman and Wonder Woman are prepared with shin guards. See, there is a rotation. See, yes. So there is a hinge and a ball swivel in the foot. Also the toe joints. Look at that. He can be a ballerina. Oh, wait, ballerinas get on their tiptoes. Never mind. He cannot. But look at him. He's holding up a batarang that isn't there, which is kind of sad. It's like, I lament my batarang. It's gone now. Now, for the figure that I put together 100%, and that may 100% fall apart while I go over him. So first, let's start with, he doesn't have an action figure stand, so there was nothing to sort of pose him on. His feet sort of don't, having trouble kind of lining them, putting them completely flat on the ground. And I'm having trouble just posing him in general. He's enormous, and that's probably a great thing because he's enormous in the comic books, but not very flexible, which I don't imagine that's one of your requirements for a figure. So let's go over the articulation in the head. No looking up, but no looking back either. Sorry, that was dumb. That was super dumb. Okay. You can look down a little bit. So you can kind of look, if somebody is here, he can look down at them from about that distance. And that is nice. Because most of your figures are going to be smaller than him. You know, unless they're, you know, Grodd or something. Gorilla Grodd or something. But I can't think of, oh, Solomon Grundy. Unless it's like Solomon Grundy. Unless it's a mega fig. So the arms, they go all the way around. There's this piece that has the spikes on it, but it's attached to the shoulder. So it's not attached to the torso, which is really nice. And it's different on both sides. On one side, you got a little bit of fur and some spike here, but you have some spike here. And the spikes, I think, are Kryptonian crystals, because he's found in where the Fortress of Solitude was. And he's infused with these crystals. So he has some on his gauntlet. Well, not this one, but this one. He has a few, I thought on one of his boots. This is mostly fur down here, but there's some sharpness down around here, which I think might be crystals. Maybe I'm imagining that. In any case, the arms move all the way around. He doesn't have butterfly joints. So the wingspan is not going to be real impressive. Oh, I didn't even know those could come off. There's a little bit of a slot here. And then there's a slot right there. Oh, I'm lucky I didn't knock these off before, I think. Because it looks like they were there all along. I just didn't know they were there. Let's see. Should I put this on camera, or should I move on? I'll try to put it on, and then if I can't, I will move on. Oh, it goes up like that. Okay, great. So single elbow, which is great. The sword is enormous. It's amazing. It's got a lot of great detail in it. A lot of great detail in the sword. That definitely could have used a little bit of maybe a whitewash, just something to make it look frosty, bring out some of the detail. But that is amazing. I don't know if you guys remember, there was an action figure line for Crystar, and all the figures were this sort of clear, this sort of translucent. They looked amazing. So let's see, wingspan, not much. I knocked the shoulder thing off again. So you'll have to keep that in mind. You got a little bit of play in the shoulder here. So I'll leave the shoulder thing off. Let's see, he has a hinge in the hand, so he can really ball up that fist. Also, the fist goes all the way around. Turns all the way around. No bicep swivel. I think there's maybe something where you can twist. Yes, just at the waist. I don't think there's anything under the armor where he can crunch, and the armor really wouldn't allow it, I don't think. I think that'd be real restrictive. So let's see, under the tunic, I think. See, same hinge and swivel as before on most of these figures. And he's got double knees. So let's see if I can do that, and keep in mind that the camera is over there and not over here. So he can get that far. He's blocked a little bit by the tuft of fur above his boot, but really impressive range of motion in the legs. He's got he's got a thigh swivel, and of course he's got hinge in the foot, in the toe joint also. And he's got, does he have a rocker? No, it's just it's a straight hinge. I thought maybe there'd be, can't see that because it's off camera. There we go. yeah, it's just a hinge. But it's still really cool. So the Frost King is a really nice addition. It's the first time you've had a Frost King figure. It's also the first time you've had the versions of Batman and Wonder Woman in this set. But if you're just looking for classic characters, Black Adam, and, you know, I don't know if that Black Adam is better than the Page Punchers version of Black Adam. Whichever one you prefer, it's easy to get a real classic, really good-looking Black Adam figure for the comic book version. And, of course, there's 3 versions of the movie one, so it's real easy to get whatever your favorite version of his costume is. And Wonder Woman has showed up in at least 6 varieties by now. But I do like this one. They're all good additions to the collection. Especially if you're looking for classics, you can get 2 of the 4. If you're looking to put together the Frost King, you can get all 4. If you're just looking for different versions of Batman, it's a really nice Batman. If you're just looking for different versions of Wonder Woman, it's a really nice Wonder Woman. So that's it. That's it for me. I've broken enough stuff. And I've broken enough stuff. So until next time, enjoy your toys. You know, in my haste to end the video, I forgot all about the trading cards that come with the McFarlane Endless Winter line. First, the Batman card, which is just a photo of the action figure. It's all right. I think there's some uniformity in the figures that did get photographed as figures, and that's great. And Wonder Woman also. And then when it gets to John Stewart, he's got this super cool art. And then I wish they had all had this cool art from the series. I don't know if that's... He's standing next to other Green Lanterns. So I don't know if that's from Endless Winter. I don't know if there was a scene where he was with other Green Lanterns fighting some of the monsters. I'm going to guess there was. I'm going to guess this is directly from one of the issues, but I'm not sure. But I would love to have had artwork from the other issues. There was a lot of... Well, they were all really fantastic artists from the series. So until next time, again, enjoy your trading cards.